Okay, welcome here. Hey, Ink, you gonna join us today? Just wanted to kind of lay things out a little bit. Shelley, welcome you, Shelley. Welcome here, Inkrat. We're just kind of playing it by ear tonight. It's been a rough week. We lost another one of us, and so yeah, it's really sad. And thought we'd talk about what kind of people they were. Um, I have a statement, let's see, that his family put out. Let's see here. Let's see if I can add this to screen. Hold that screen. Share screen. Okay. This is a statement that his family put out. Um, Alex's, Pretti's family put out. And Heather Cox Richardson wrote about what they said. This is from Susan and Michael Pretti, the parents. We are heartbroken, but also very angry, they said. Alex was a kind hearted soul who cared deeply for his family and friends and also the American veterans whom he cared for as an ICU nurse in the Minneapolis VA hospital. Alex wanted to make a difference in the world, and unfortunately, he will not be with us to see his impact. I do not throw the term hero around lightly. However, his last thoughts and acts was to protect a woman. The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. Alex is clearly not holding a gun when attacked by Trump's murdering and cowardly ICE thugs. He had his phone in his right hand, and his empty left hand was raised above his head while trying to protect the woman ICE just pushed down, all while, all while being pepper sprayed. Please get the truth out about our son. He was a good man. I thought that was very touching. In cold blood. So yeah, that was very touching. And we've all talked about the kind of lives these people led. They weren't terrorists, domestic or otherwise. They were fighting for our rights, and we all are. And so, pay tribute to them. Uh, Nicole's little boy lost his mother. His father had died a few years previous. Um, I I do think that the family is doing right by her, and they had an independent autopsy done for her, and it was proved in that autopsy that he murdered her. He shot her as the car was driving past him. He lifted his gun and shot her through the temple. So that was the kill shot. And we can't forget these people because, I don't know if their deaths will make a big difference, but I'm hoping so. So, let's see here. Excuse me. I think that we need to remember to be making our fivecalls.org and pressuring um, the representatives and senators to stop funding ICE. They're clearly not trained well or undertrained, if at all. Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the chat room. Um, and I think other things we need to be thinking about doing is working in our communities. Let's see. They believe it would blow over. Yeah, I don't think so. Those people are just. I don't think it's going to blow over. I think it's going to go down in history what they did to these two, and, and their names will be in our history books. That price to pay. Yeah, we're definitely not forgetting about the Epstein files, Jolie, for sure. Is there anything anybody else would like to share about the memories of Renee and Alex? I just, it's so senseless that these two are not still with us. Yeah, be prepared for the next insanity drop. It is like they're racing to just make headlines so that people will forget the last headline. What did we have last week? We had the disastrous um, economy summit, Trump going out on the world stage, just embarrassing the United States to no end. And he was going to attack Greenland, Iceland, as he likes to call it. The vice president got booed by Al Gore at the economy summit, or whatever it's called. Way to go, Al. Um, I was thinking today I should not report on the news in real time. I should, like, when the new week start, I should report last week's news and do it that way so that it make it hit the cycle longer. But I'm sure I don't have that much of an impact, so it would be so painful. There's a lot of anger involved, especially uh, after this shooting yesterday, and the immediate reaction from the people in charge of ICE and other cabinet members just putting out a false statement. I mean, they didn't learn their lesson the first time? Apparently not. They run out and put out this statement and call them terrorists, domestic terrorists, and then the footage starts rolling out. And it shows that they were being terrorized. And the real terrorists are ICE. And like Wall said, they're not even a real law enforcement agency, you know. And the cover up too is you know, uh, Department of Homeland Security kicked everybody away and said, nope, none of you guys can have any of this data or anything we find. And, you know, law agencies don't work like that. They work together. So why would they not want the other agencies working with them? And in fact, DHS isn't even equipped to do an investigation. It's from what I've been told. So why wouldn't you have other agencies? I think you just laid out about a month's worth of stuff there. Excuse me. Let's see here. Okay. Here's the link if anybody wants to hop on with me. I'm going to get myself out of this bubble. Don't like the bubble. I got it on there earlier when I first started streaming. Now I can't figure out how to get rid of it except just to go to a whole different thing. That's okay. I think that all of this madness is by design. You know, I think they're still trying to think they're going to get the Heritage Parks Project 2025 up and running. And I was hearing some stuff about that today that I don't know. We got about 2 inches, I think. Anyway, they were talking about this one section of Project 2025 they want to put in order or, implement into our country is that men and women marry very young, and if they have babies, they get some Trump bucks or something of Trump, a bonus to their bank account from Trump. And the more babies, the more bonuses you get. And they're gonna start making everybody go to church. I don't know where you're going with that. 8 to 10 inches. Ooh. Start a church? I don't know about that. Might want to start a commune instead. Of course, now they'll label me a communist. It's just overwhelming sometimes. You just don't have the answers. From reputable sources, right, Inkrat? People say, well, another thing she brought up um, was that not only are they going to do, the women will be property and the children are property, but they're also going to make the men do things. She said in Afghanistan right now, they're they're making men wear their beards a certain way and go to mosques a certain amount of times, and they're keeping track, and you can get fined if you don't go to mosque. It's like, woo. Talk about control. I don't want to live in that kind of world. I don't know about the rest of you. Who else is pregnant? Um, the mouthpiece of Trump is pregnant, apparently. I can never think of her name because I never watch her. The lying liar of the liars is um uh, Kirk. Is his wife pregnant? I thought I heard that, but I could be wrong. A bunch of those girls are getting pregnant over there. Maybe they think it's their duty. CRISPR. That's funny. Oh, Lord. Are we going to go back to the Dark Ages? I don't think any of this is going to stand. I think that there's some good news about the funding bill for ICE, and that there might be enough pushback on that funding bill to get ICE at least cut their funding and maybe curtail them somewhat. And that there seems to be some Republican movement on that. And if they have to shut down the government, I think they should do it. I don't know if I'm right about Erica Kirk. I think I heard that, but I don't know. Let's see. I wanted to look for some more good stuff. Talk about. Go to my profile. Oh, I can show you this. Gotta get that out of there. This is it, yeah. Okay.
Today we remember that freedom is not free. We have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it. May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters have served so that we may enjoy the gift of freedom. So in this moment, we remember give thanks for their dedication and selfless service to our nation. In this solemn hour, we render them our honor and our gratitude.
That was Alex reading a statement about a veteran who passed away. Good job. Okay. Yeah. Let's pull that off of there. CRISPR, it's like a DNA thing, Nancy. I couldn't explain it to you. But it's a way to manipulate DNA, I think. Yeah, Shelley. Oh, I thought you were asking about it, Inkrat. I see. Well, Josh. When did Josh sneak in? Hi, Josh. Welcome to the stream. Let's see if I can find some more good stuff. You can't read this, but it's Stephen Miller crap. It's a post from Homeland Security. To all ICE officers, you have federal immunity in the conduct of your duties. Anybody who lays a hand on you or tries to stop you or tries to obstruct you is committing a felony. You have immunity to perform your duties, and no one, no city official, no state official, no illegal alien, no leftist agitator or domestic insurrectionist can prevent you from fulfilling your legal obligations and duties. The Department of Justice has made it clear that if officials cross that line into obstruction, into criminal conspiracy against the United States or against ICE officers, they will face justice. What does that even fucking mean? What kind of justice? That had to be written by Stephen Miller. He's such a psycho. Let's see. Yeah, I think that we do need to start looking into our communities and seeing where we can help. I know that, in bigger cities, there's more of a need for people running errands, for people who are afraid to go out and bringing food and transporting people. Yeah. I heard they did another boat strike. Hmm. Did anybody else hear that? Let me see if I can find anything about recent boat strikes. Hmm. That was a month ago. This isn't about the boat strikes. It's about Ukraine. Let's see. This is from some guy named Tim White. Uh, this was a month ago too. I'm not hearing about a lot about Ukraine, but I know that they're being bombarded and they don't have their heat and utilities on. And I don't know if some of you know who Phil 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 what's his name, Itmer, I think. He comes into Hal's stream once a week or so, and he said that the weather was so cold and they have limited battery power to power anything, and they're saving that to get messages out. But he said they're being bombarded left and right, and especially during these recent uh, meetings that were held in, for the economy and such. I don't think that we're getting enough news about Ukraine. I'd like to try to keep that more in the fold. I do follow a couple of streamers that stream about Ukraine. Maybe next time I come, I'll find out some more stuff about what's going on. There was something today I heard that maybe, yes, thank you, Ingrid, that maybe um, Zelensky is thinking about signing a deal that was brokered between the United States, Russia, and him. But I guess we'll have to see if that actually comes to bear. I don't think that Zelensky would sign it unless he got some concessions about safety and regions in Ukraine. Well, I just heard that today, Ingrat, that that he might be thinking about it. So I don't know, right? We are already burned them once because of the nuke deal they made. They gave up their nukes for protection, and then when they needed protection, we didn't give it to them. So, yeah, it would be nice if they just take him into NATO. I don't know. Might make all hell break loose, though. Oh, that was nice, Jolie. Glad she had some help, too. I slept in this morning, so by the time I did get up, the landlord had sent his shovelers by. So that was good. I was able to take them all out. I've never loved shoveling snow. I'm not afraid to say it either. Move that. Put me back in here. Let's see. I'll keep looking for things to talk about. Let's. Okay. What's going on with TikTok? It says here TikTok went from promoting uh, anti-democratic democratic propaganda or content during the 2024 election to censoring anti Trump content in 2026 after Trump's loyalist Larry Ellison's Oracle purchased an 80% stake in it. So all the TikTokers out there must be really bummed. What's this about? I don't know what that's about. For some reason, they're giving me sports stuff to look at, and I don't even follow sports. That's what I get for looking at trending. And we got the vaccine deniers uh, who are going to let their children get polio and crap. That's fun. Oh, yeah. Also, they do have all our Social Security data. They said they hadn't gotten it, but they do. And they put it in a third party server. So there's that. All our data's out there. Oh, and you guys heard about the letter that um, DOJ put out saying that they'd get ICE out of Minnesota if the government or the governor agreed to uh, hand over the voting data. That's a non-starter there. Of course, here in my state, our government just did it without us even knowing. Really upset about that. I think there's a class action lawsuit to be had there. What did I miss while I was looking at other stuff? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of scrolling back. Wow, they did your cars too, Jolie. That's pretty cool. What did they say, Inkrat? Oh dear. Okay. The House is allegedly pushing to pass a new version of the SAVE Act, coined the SAVE Act Plus. Boy, they're creative. To the Senate, a move to ramp up pressure on Senate Republicans to enact Trump's backed measure requiring documentary proof of citizen for voter registration. These fuckers just never stop. Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about Jack Smith's testimony. Here's a question he was asked. Did you uncover evidence to prove Trump knew his claim the election was stolen was false? Smith, yes. Question, and Trump claimed it was stolen while he privately acknowledged he lost? Smith, yes. Yet on the 5th anniversary of Day 6, Trump still promoted the stolen election theory. Is that correct?
For example, the Trump propaganda site claims that the 2020 election was, quote, stolen. Mr. Smith, did your investigation cover evidence sufficient to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Donald Trump knew that his claim that the election was stolen was false?
Yes, it did.
And did your investigation uncover evidence sufficient to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Donald Trump publicly claimed that the 2020 election was stolen from him while he privately acknowledged that he had lost the election?
Yes, we cited instances of that during in our case.
But yet here we see that on the 5th anniversary of the insurrection, the Trump White House propaganda machine is still promoting the stolen election theory on this government webpage with a text box titled, quote, fraudulent election, stolen election certified, end quote. The site also has a subsection reading in part, quote, FBI entrapment operation exposed. Mr. Smith, did your investigation develop any evidence to support the allegation that the FBI entrapped insurrectionists into committing crimes on January 6th?
Our investigation revealed that Donald Trump is the person who caused January 6th, that it was foreseeable to him, and that he sought to exploit the violence.
Here's some more questioning from that.
The first was the Secretary of State, who was a fellow Republican. My understanding, he voted for and supported Donald Trump in the election, but told Donald Trump in a conversation that was recorded in no uncertain terms the results of the election, and debunked many of the fraud claims that Donald Trump had to him in real time. In addition to that, I recall that Donald Trump also spoke firsthand with the Attorney General of your state, also a Republican, who informed Donald Trump that he had supported him and voted for him twice in the past. He also told Donald Trump he did not see outcome determined fraud in that state.
I have an audio from a phone call between Trump and the Georgia Secretary of State regarding the 2020 election. Could you please play the audio?
People, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Mr. Smith, you explained in your deposition that Georgia Secretary of State was one of the witnesses who disabused President Trump's false claims. How did Georgia Secretary of State push back against Trump's efforts?
I think my recollection is in this same call, President Trump repeatedly raised fraud claims, and the Secretary of State repeatedly explained not only that they weren't true, but I believe my recollection is in several instances why they weren't true. And I believe that call ended, my recollection is that it ended with the President, in essence, threatening the Secretary of State that he might be a target for criminal prosecution if he didn't do what President Trump wanted him to do.
So see, that raises a very critical point. President Trump didn't just spread lies about the election. In your words, and I'm quoting, he preyed on, end quote, Republican officials in Georgia and other states who believed would help him. Mr. Smith, Donald Trump thought these officials would break the law out of party loyalty. And when those officials, his own political allies, told him the truth, he dismissed them and continued to spread the lies anyway. Is that correct?
That is correct. The first was the Secretary of State, who was a fellow Republican. My understanding, he voted for.
Okay. Yeah, those were good times, right? All I need is 11,780 votes. Fellas, come on. Come on, fellas. Yeah, they had two perfect opportunities to impeach and convict him, and they didn't do it. So I don't think they're going to do it now. Anyway, I thought the Jack Smith hearings were pretty cool, but I could never figure out why. First they were like, no, he can't do it in public. He's got to do it behind closed doors. And then right after that, they released the transcript, and now they're releasing the footage. Why do you guys suppose they did that? Or what made that happen? Because I couldn't figure out, why did they push so hard for it to be behind closed doors? Anybody got any ideas about that? Not that I'm complaining, mind you. I'm happy that they did release the footage. Stall tactics. Stalling for what? For the next declaration of war on one of our allies, maybe? That's a great image, Nancy, or ink rat. Sorry. I could see her flying on a broom, going, I'll get you, my pretty. Chasing immigrants. Of course, she doesn't actually do any of the actual chasing. She just points them, and she's lying to these agents. They all are telling them they have immunity. They don't. So, eventually they could end up in deep doo-doo. Deep doo-doo. Oh, there's the whole thing about the unsigned warrants that they get to sign themselves. That's crazy. Here's this.
Report today that an ICE memo allows agents to enter people's houses without a judge's warrant. What do you say to people who say we're concerned about the Constitution, and how much is this tactic being used?
Yeah, so I saw that story, and the story is like so much that I read. It makes it missing a whole lot of context, and when you appreciate the context, it makes sense. No one is saying, look, there are exceptions. For example, a crazy exception: if somebody is fired at from inside a house, they don't need a warrant to go inside that person's house. There are very narrow exceptions to the requirement where law enforcement officers don't need a warrant if, for example, they're an imminent threat of their lives. But what we've said and what ICE has proposed, what the Department of Homeland Security really has proposed in the Department of Justice, is that we can get administrative warrants to enforce administrative immigration law.
Now, it's possible, I guess, that the courts will say no, and of course, if the courts say no, we would follow that law, but nobody is talking about doing immigration enforcement without a warrant. We're talking about different types of warrants that exist in our system. Typically, what happens, not always, but typically in the immigration system, those are handled by administrative law judges. So we're talking about getting warrants from those administrative law judges, and then, of course, with other cases, you get judges, or you get warrants from a judge. That's very consistent with the practice of American law. I'm sure the courts will weigh in on that, but we're never going to enter somebody's house without some kind of a warrant, unless, of course, somebody's firing on an officer or they have to do something in order to protect themselves.
Such a load of crap that was. Let me see if I can find us some more stuff to look at. Hmm. So, a historic gap in U.S. diplomatic leadership here. There's 102 U.S. embassies without a Senate-confirmed ambassador. 52% of U.S. ambassador posts are vacant. 67 ambassadorial appointments since January 2025. So we don't have ambassadors in a whole lot of places. That seems America first like. The This is from the Bulwark. On January 28th, you have a federal law enforcement office engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy's protected by absolute immunity. Yeah, we talked about that.
The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in law. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. No, I didn't say, and I don't think any other official within the Trump administration said that officers who engaged in wrongdoing would enjoy immunity. That's absurd. The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy protects absolute immunity. No, I didn't say, and I don't think any other official within the Trump administration said that officers who engaged in wrongdoing would enjoy immunity. That's absurd. The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement.
We got all that. Double speak. The A corrections officer trainee was detained by ICE in Maine. Let's see. I didn't know this. Venezuela's Delcy Rodriguez assured U.S. of cooperation before Maduro's capture. I'd heard speculation about that, but I didn't know that it actually happened. Powerful figures in the regime secretly pledged U.S. and Qatari officials they would welcome Maduro's departure. So that must have been the plan the whole time. More about their powers to sweep into homes. I don't like that idea. You know, didn't it occur to them that if they go busting into houses and they're wearing masks and whatnot, that people have right to defend their home? Isn't that a law that, like, stand your ground law or something? What are we talking about? Yep, martial law. Yeah, they are losing ground, I think. It's a post by Heather Cox Richardson. The Republicans spent the entire hearing accusing Jack Smith of prosecuting Trump for political reasons and falsely claiming he was being directed by Biden and Garland. Ironically, while they're doing that, Trump is telling Bondi on True Social that she should prosecute Smith. And yeah, we saw that all happen. Oh dear. A crisis pregnancy center uh, in the Atlanta area, has raked in 1.1 million from an unusual source, the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Now that is weird. The CPC is opening a maternity home, warning advocates that residents may be coerced or into relinquishing, easy for me to say, relinquishing children for adoption. That sounds scary as fuck. They want you to pump out babies and then they'll give them to rich families who can't have babies or something. Weird. So they're going to take money out of HUD and give it to these cases where they'll get pregnant women in there and coerce them into giving away their babies. Very weird. Okay, get out of that.
The people that you're seeing in these in the videos, the vast majority of them, I'm going to tell you, I do not believe are from Minnesota. These are organized chaos agents. There are agitators that are paid. The vast majority of Minnesotans that I know that are talking to me, they appreciate the fact that federal law enforcement has arrived and they are happy they're there picking up rapists, murderers, child sex offenders. I mean, that's the story that needs to get out. That Tim Walz and Keith Ellison have allowed these people to walk our streets for years in spite of deportation orders and convictions. And finally, the federal government is doing the job that they've refused to do.
Lies. That's a bunch of lies right there. Walz said that they have been asking ICE people and Border Patrol people to pick up prisoners that they have in their jails and getting them out of the country. People they've already arrested. And instead, they're running around terrorizing citizens. It's all a sick, twisted game they're playing. And this guy says, people I talk to, well, you're talking to a bunch of very wealthy people who believe all your bullshit. What am I missing? Ugh, that's sick, Nancy. Or ink rat. Okay, back to this. Jason Crow, Representative Jason Crow says, this was 3 days ago, that we should be celebrating the 53rd anniversary of Roe versus Wade. Instead, we now have a world where Trump, Republicans, and right-wing Supreme Court stripped away rights from Americans. Every woman in every state should be able to make her own health care decision. I agree with that. Jessica Pitchko says Stephen Miller understands that the criminal system is the most powerful on the state level, so he's going after local and state sovereignty. Is a post from Stephen Miller. Everyone serious understands that the justice system is rigged. Far left prosecutors, magistrates, judges, and juries unhesitatingly shield their violent activists and gleefully imprison their political opponents. Unrigging the system is necessary for survival in the republic. God, the guy is so twisted. Well, we could go on and on about how freaking twisted these people are. Only served to raise my blood pressure. Yep. Have you people heard enough of this for one night? Because I certainly have. I think I should remind all of you, not that you need reminding, to be kind and helpful when you can be, and be diligent if you're out protesting. Don't make any fast moves, or even do this with your fingers. They might mistake it for a gun. Oh, I I recently acquired a ukulele, and I learned how to tune it today, and I can play Iz's song, sort of. We need a little practice. Somewhere over the rainbow, or he just calls it over the rainbow. And so next time when I come on, if I get a chance to practice, I might try that for you guys. But my fingertips are totally numb. No, I'm not going to play the uke. I can't even feel my fingertips. I might do it next week. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to close this down because it's late and I'm tired, and it's been a hell of a week. I just learned how to tune it. I can barely do anything. Yeah, no, I can't play it yet. I've got to practice. Mine are numb because I have a pinched nerve in my neck. I have a pinched nerve, and I've been having a lot of pain, and it goes into my armpits and runs down my forearm, and all four of my fingertips are just numb. It's not like neuropathy, they're just numb. And I can't make my fingers do what I want them to do. But I'll work on that. Oh, cool, Josh. We'll have to do a uke band. Have a uke night. Hi, Janelle. Oh, sweetie, we're just getting ready to end the stream. I'm kind of tired tonight. A duet. It's hard to do a duet. We'd have to do like a... Okay. I think it's hard to do that online for some reason. You don't come across like you're playing together. But we could play it in rounds, probably. Okay. Janelle, don't be mad that I'm ending the stream. I think playing for change has is kind of a different thing because each one does their part in order or something. I haven't looked at my emails lately. It's been kind of a rough week, but I did see the one where you sent me a song and I really like that. I'll check my email. And anyway, everybody be nice and kind and all the things. I want to delete that. And believe your eyes. Don't believe the rhetoric they're putting out there. Janelle, it's really good of you to drop in, okay? And I am sorry we're cutting out, but I'm just done tonight. It's been an emotional week for everybody, I think. I hope Jeff and Human and Josh and Jolie and Inkrat and Shelly. I hope y'all had a good time tonight. If I'm missing anyone, Josh sees Jeff. Did I say Jeff? He's been here. Yeah, Human, I'm so glad you could make it on time this time. And thank you, Jolie, for modding. Everybody have a good night. Till I see you next time. See ya.